My name is Christoph, and we're about to do some AI coding. As you can see, I am debugging a current script. I've been playing around with this a bit. The script is a Python script, and it's a little bit extra for a lot of beginning developers, but I found a very effective way to essentially be able to have a local system where your AI is running on your computer. You are um, basically giving it tools to do your typical research that you would do on an online environment. And the current project is technically a local folder, a network share folder, that I can synchronize files between different computers. Yes, there is Windows Share and all that other stuff. But in the case scenario, I'd like to have something a bit more customizable and controllable than a network folder ran by Windows. So let's take a look at the environment I've set up so far. And it does come with the LM Studio, which is Language Model Studio, and the CRXNG search engine to do all the research for me. Now, let me just make sure that I'm not talking into thin air, and looks like the audio is fine. Coffee, milk, and honey. So what do I have set up here? Right. First case scenario, you can get LM Studio and just get started. Now, on the comparison level of my previous videos with Olama is a bit more bare bones, and you're able to achieve basically similar functionality if you code your harness manually, right, with Python. And I've done that as well. I have like a custom little Python harness that I use for searching. Let's see. I've always been interested in watching this work and see what it's doing exactly. Okay, so now it's going through GitHub. So Olama is pretty good for a simple chatbot, and maybe for more advanced uses, like actually creating your own harness, setting up your own code to connect to the server that's run locally. LM Studio is a much more intricate harness, if you will. It's got a lot of the processes already built in, that you can essentially just connect endpoints together and have a full automated system. Hold on, my audio went red right now. And the case here is, first you'll need a model. So if you go to the LM Studio on the left after you install it, you'll see basically a search. Now I found that the Qwen 3.5, the quantized version, is actually very good for my graphics card. And do bear in mind, a graphics card is required for a setup like this. And I don't have anything crazy. I have a 8 gig VRAM 3070 on this laptop. It's a pretty heavy laptop, I'd say, but it's nothing compared to a lot of current day hardware. But even on the 8 gigabyte RAM, I'm capable of running this AI locally. Here's kind of the setup where you can check and literally see the AI destroying my dedicated GPU memory to the tippy top. So it's literally running on the computer. It's eating up my graphics card, probably eating up some power as well. But as far as coding, this has been a pretty effective model to basically do. You're not going to get full, like, you're not just going to go once and you're going to get a perfect set of code. That's a given. I've used different types of models, whether online APIs or locals. And yeah, you're going to probably have a little bit more friction on the lower level here on your PC, running your AI locally. But the process here is the learning process. It's not so much, I just want to type in something and it codes it for me and it's going to be perfect. Because I have mentioned before that this is a great tool that you can lean on to basically learn as you go. But if you're completely leaning on it to depend on it providing you with information, you're gonna get desensitized. You're gonna stop thinking, And even then, when there's issues, man, find it. When there's issues, you won't know how to debug them because you're so used to an AI doing your work for you. It's like reading. It's like mathematics in a calculator. The same brain activity is necessary. What are you doing? What is this? Are you encoding? I'm confused. Let me change log from... Okay. So we'll go into the details of what this use 64-bit integers is based on the connection sequence I'm trying to figure out, which is exciting. But I'll let it keep doing its encoding. See? Yeah. Wait, you're just counting up? What are you doing? Okay, this... I've given it a question it's having a lot of trouble with, so we'll figure out a way around this. And the first thing to actually have it effective on the outside, because right now the studio itself is going to be just a local chat. You just treat it like a chat. Your AI is going to essentially just, hey, I have nothing. I'm chilling here. You want to ask a question from my memory? And again, AIs function in two manners. Without a harness, without a set of tools to accompany it, it acts as a memory encyclopedia. So you can ask it questions from its training date, and it'll give you 80, 70% accuracy, depending on the size of the model. But having this model be able to access the internet, all right, stop, gives it a bit more of a flexibility to researching and providing much more accurate, up-to-date information. So in order for us to actually connect LM Studio, or whatever model is activating here, you will need to basically modify through the install MCP JSON. Be careful what servers you include. Currently, I only have a local server. And that local server is hosting my CRXNG. So it's literally running on another computer, the one that's actually recording everything and streaming things right now. It's hooked up by cable, so it's got the strongest connection. That's why I'm basically using it as a local server and streaming unit. And from there, you can tell that I'm essentially tapping into it through the IP address. And then the CRXNG IP address is 8080. That's kind of default. You can modify this if you'd like. And the actual CRXNG, I've already made a tutorial video on how to set that up. It's just a Docker file. It's a Docker running system. You may have to modify it on the Docker. Where is it? The settings in here. There was the settings. Oh yeah, you have to go into the Docker unit. Hold on, let me see if I can. There it is. You have to go into the Docker setup. Well, okay, so I've got a couple of things running. Actually, I tried this this MCP search. It didn't work out. I'm actually gonna delete that. But I just have my typical CRXNG setup. It's not even anything special. It's the one I've used before and that I've actually applied on my custom Python harness that I can access. You'll want to go to Files. You'll want to go to etc. In here, CRXNG. Or the settings. Yeah, CRXNG settings. Right click, edit file, search up HTML. And the format, you just have to add on a -JSON just to activate the type of format you're letting your container expect through the network. After you do that, you restart your container and then your AI. That's kind of like the biggest issue I had for a moment because it was only an HTML access, only simply because, well, obviously, it's kind of defaulted to just HTML in the case scenario. But then you set up your configuration here under the install mcp.json, and you get this little MCP CRXNG tool harness. And then it basically gives the ability for your AI to access the web. Now, again, this is no different than me actually going to my 192.168.1.109.80.80 and then actually running it from the HTML window. This is why the default is there for HTML, so I can access it and actually do manual research, right? The CRXNG I've mentioned before in a lot of shorts and a lot of videos. A lot of you guys really like CRXNG, and honestly, seems to be a very prominent player nowadays since Google and everything else that's happening with the search results are becoming watered down with advertisements. Where actually you're gonna get direct results from and it is local, right? It is a local search on your computer. Here's some. Okay, Brave suspended me for too many requests. That was doing a lot of requests, wasn't it? The only problem I've noticed is that when you run an AI on the local machine, and it does act like an AI and does a lot of requests, there will be some case scenarios where you'll be like, "Oh, your IP address feels like an AI," and then they start either suspending you or giving you timeouts or something of the form. If I go to a Brave, I think it's gonna ask me if I'm an AI or not. No, hold on. Brave search. Hold on. I think I gotta do it for sure from here. Best. No, okay, it's doing it fine. But a second ago, it gave me like a little, hey, I just want to check if you're human. And I'm like, yeah, I'm human, but I have an AI, you know. What we're gonna do? You're gonna have to deal with both of us. So the CRXNG is a great. I mean, I don't fault everyone for really looking into this. Searching files, science, social media, everything. Like, whatever. Access denied. Oh, it's got itself its own little set of places. Ooh, does it customize science to scientific papers written by actual scholar? Oh, I didn't realize that it changes all of its. Oh, that's awesome. Okay, I didn't realize that it actually went through specific search spaces. That's cool. Anyway, so that's how CRXNG works, and on the back end, that's how we can set it up to basically run in LM Studio. Once you've got the actual CRXNG Docker container set up, and if you need to do that, I have the video that I'll be linking in the description after I'm done here, and you'll get to take a look on how to set it up yourself on your computer. Now, the big deal is you can do that without a problem. You can use it on any computer. It's super great to have. Problem is, if you want it to attach with an AI, well, that's where the graphics card comes in. So here's all my models currently running, or at least set up on my current machine. I've had to move stuff around because my partitions are all over the place. If you've seen my other videos, I have like a bunch of partitions with a bunch of separated factors. One partition for AI and development and coding and servers, and another partition for games that I basically share between my Linux and my Windows operating system. But I think I like this little thing here where I can actually eject the model. You'll see that the memory is going to free itself at that point in time. And then you can customize the context window, which is actually really cool. It'll tell you also how much RAM you need for a certain size context window. Obviously, I don't have that much of a gigabyte space, and already some of it's being used. How much is being used? Like 1 gig is being used out of 7 or out of 8. So I'll probably do like 6.5 again. Maybe even a little bit more. Give it a little 7 there boost. Right, let's do that. And then you can basically load the model into memory. And then boom, there it is, back inside. So what have I done so far, and why did I want to post? Well, I found a very effective way outside of using AI models like X, Grok, or ChatGPT or whatever. And I found a very vibey, but also like a learning process that I can use for this. For instance, I did a quick query on a network file sync script, and it came up with a pretty decent template. Here it is. The context window for this was about 11,000. You can always tell the bottom right here, it's important to note your context window, how much is being used currently by the chat. If you ever reach 100, you do have to start a new chat. But this actually promotes a little bit more organization. And because then you can kind of really organize pieces and bits. Like for instance, now I have a little folder here for SMB based stuff to be able to basically connect back and forth on the network between these two computers and synchronize the actual files, which I'm still working on. It's not finished yet. But going through the code, I had an issue with the SMB. I had to make sure I get... Where was it? I had to get the Pi SMB install because there's a couple of different mannerisms that you can use SMB with. I think we're still within this bracket here. No, I actually did a secondary search online. So I had to actually install Pi SMB to activate the SMB package for connection. Then there was this other thing where was SMB tree, which didn't exist. SMB tree did not exist. So I had to actually create a function called SMB walk. And all it does is it goes through a remote system and walks through the directory given so that it can make a tree from that. Oh, hold on a second. Oh, no. All right, this is a recur... Okay, hold on. I forgot a couple of things here. It's a recursive function. There we go. Now, I know the programming practices, so I know how objects work. I know how recursive structures work. I know how sorting algorithms work, and all these concepts that would be necessary to be at this level of development to create a network system of file sharing between two systems. But that shouldn't mean that's where everyone has to start. Just having the ability to go through and have an idea for some code. For instance, what if I wanted something simple? Like this is, I love doing this kind of stuff. Create a JavaScript HTML animated wallpaper with graphic effects on a canvas that represent ocean waves in pastel colors. I just love doing random wallpapers like you see in the back here. This was actually one of my first custom particle ones that I made a long time ago before even AI started. And after AI started, I was like, oh my god, yes. Now I can make all these cool wallpapers like this. Check this out. Yes. Give it a second. Give it a second. Give it a second. It's a little chill right now. Everyone's just doing their thing. There's little electrons in space, you know. I'm large. But they're chilling. They're chilling. Long time no collide. Wait till they collide. It's gonna get fun. And that's the anticipation of it all. Living my best trajectory. Hi, friend. Long time no collide. I just need to expand on the mannerisms. Maybe try and not repeat the same ones. Just here for the aesthetics. Nope, almost on the bottom right there. One of these are gonna collide. One of these are gonna collide. So they pass each other, they recognize the distance between each other, and these are algorithms that you can basically create. And then take a look at how it was created and then learn the algorithm itself. The distance between 2 points, how it's managed in a array of values, how to activate certain actions like a little bubble. There we go. Root sparkle. This is emotional damage and the activity begins. Nice. Bam. It gets pretty intense after a little bit here. You're gonna start seeing, yep, there's a big fight. So I love making these little animations and little entertaining factors here. Super fun to just play with. And it's a great just playing workspace. Learn to code with actual fun involved. And of course, as an educator, I would be not doing my part if I didn't let you know that I do teach students on mathematics, programming code, all kinds of subjects, even IT. You want to create applications, you need some help with schoolwork and mathematics, college, discrete mathematics, computer science concepts. I mean, these sort of like scripting networking tools are a bit on the extra for me, so I'm actually learning as I go. But hey, all the prerequisites up to the point of where I'm actually coding now on a local networking scale, teachable. So these are things you can find on my Patreon when you look up ChrisMIA, or just check out the description below to actually find me. Even join the community and say hi. Joining my free Patreon will show, support for everything I'm doing. I'm trying to expand a bit more in the content creation education space. I love it. Direct hit to my soul. And I love teaching one-to-one. It's actually the best case scenario to understand my student on a deeper level, understanding how they learn, what their impediments are, what their difficulties are, and overcoming them, and motivating students to seek further education and self-motivation. And I've taught students of all calibers. College students ready for graduation, young students that are just struggling to pass with D's, F's, autistic kids, learning disabilities of all manners. I try to make my education entertaining, as you can see on the screen. This is what's something we can learn, how to create this sort of little interactive environment, sandbox here, with some code and modifications. But I've taught students from basically, 8 years old all the way up to 65. So in mathematics, programming, about 10 languages, PHP, Python, SQL, JavaScript. I'd say TypeScript is one of my weaker ones. I did teach someone and I've played with TypeScript before, but it's not my favorite. I feel like TypeScript is just a little bit too obfuscated and shenanigans. Everyone a long time ago was trying to make their own language for something. I do respect NPM and the Node Package Manager and all the capabilities that pure JavaScript can do on a local server. But when it comes to TypeScript and Angular, I'm just like, man, do this without it. You can set yourself up. I'd rather do everything in PHP. Not just a personal opinion there. I love this. All right. So anyway, now you know how to find me if you need, a little bit about me. And let's continue on forward here. So that's kind of where I started, right? I asked for a particular, basically template. I didn't expect it to work. Oh wait, hold on. This was that little HTML thing, huh? Let's check it out. Where's my AI code? AI code. I like to organize all my files so now I know where they came from. And you can tell how much code I actually do just by looking at the left side bar here. There it is. AI code, HTML, 3D, new file. Where am I? I'd say that's more of a background. And then, what do I call it? Ocean waves, ocean pastel, HTML. copy your folder file, right-click, reveal in Explorer, and then test it out. Now, will this work? Not all the time. I'll have to inspect and see if there's any errors. There you are! There's a lot of errors. Oh. Removing... it could also just be the browser I'm using, because sometimes the browsers do make a huge difference. No, not this time. Oh, let's see. Wave layer draw. Giving me some errors, but I'm not going to debug this. This is kind of how it starts, right? You play around with it. Again, you're not going to get the perfect output every single time. Which in the case scenario, you could get a pretty decent output from online APIs. But unless you're actually diving into the code and analyzing it and playing with it, and you know what to look for and how to look for it, it's a bit extra energy. Like, the real key here is, like, your queries do cost energy. And if you wanted to learn something and have a completely accessible local model without having to pay exorbitant amounts, then you should do a local LM Studio and then prompt stuff like, teach me how to do Python, right? How to start Python. Where do I begin learning Python? And then it'll give you the process locally. And it's totally like doable. The smaller the code, the easier it's going to actually work. And then teach me how to debug Python, because you're going to need those skills, because 90 to 90% of programming is debugging the code. Sometimes it doesn't work, like you see here. X is not defined on 94. Const let X. Oh. Did you leave the for loop and you forgot about X? Alright, well, let's create it outside. And I'll just let it do its thing inside. I think it's like double dipping on the variable here. There we go. Well, that's not exactly... Wow, look at that. I fixed that error right away. Not quite what I wanted, but it's not bad. It's a pretty good background. It's not perfect. You know, it's not... It's pretty cool, though, actually. Thinking about sine waves. Pastel colors? Fair. Then I'd probably have to let it know, hey, you know, make sure that underneath each sign is covered up, filled by a color, so that only the top is visible, so that you can actually see the waves behind one another. So modifications I can do like this, right? I'd be able to prompt it, and knowing that I can fill, you know, that particular, like this red one could be filled underneath, which would block behind here. And then the other ones will be filled beneath as well. So blocks each layer one behind another. And then you kind of get a much smoother wave system. So, you know, this is what I'm going for here. I love to play around with code like this and check out what kind of stuff I can make. What's this one? Oh yeah, this one's the beginning of my emoji battle. Ooh. Random stuff like this, man. This one does require a little bit more mathematics, so don't expect to get to this point. Depending on how much you work with here. Game of Life. Always a fun one to do. If you know Game of Life. I'm probably going to add this to my stream at one point, because I love just watching this. All these little spaces that are stationary, they've grown into a stable colony. And all the things moving around here, they're not stable. It's like civilizations of human beings fighting each other, and then they overrun the small villages. Think of that story, eh? That happens in life, don't it? But this is a very interesting algorithm that does really specify a lot of the living consciousness of interaction. And especially humans, it can be animals too, territorial, right? All kinds of explanations. Even bacteria have a flow of this type. And eventually, I think it settles. Let's see. Does it settle? Does it settle? No, you ruined that part up there. Okay. Another village? Nope. Village is forming. Slowly moving around. Uh-oh. Ah, no. I love watching this. I love watching this. This kind of stuff is like the meat and potatoes of aesthetics. And I have like a click button where I can just, when it gets boring, I can just destroy stuff. Hey, go away. You guys don't. You're not gonna interfere. There we go. Ah, and then because it does stop, I set a random amount of little dots to interact and disturb the piece a little bit because, you know, staring at non-movement, it's a little boring. But look at that, right? Oh, love it, love it. Anyway, these are the kind of things that we can do, play around with the code and stuff like this. But anyway, so my particular key here, again, is to show you how you can use LM Studio to basically set yourself up to do some coordinated learning on your computer. And yeah, the title says AI bubble. Let's talk about that a little bit before I go. AI is not looking good. OpenAI, at least, they had to stop Sora because it was money, energy hungry. They didn't make any profit. I hear Trump is trying to get 350 billion from South Korea for something. They want to do some sort of exchanging process with cash. Hey, you give us 350 billion, we'll exchange some of ours for another carry trade, a currency swap, like Japan, and that's not doing so well, especially with Japan's oil prices going up. So there's a lot of potential chaos ensuing in the horizon, and you don't want to be left out without an AI. So I recommend you set it up, download some models, don't depend on the internet to be there all forever. I spoke with a friend of mine and I streamed it talking about all these kind of things, and you know, back up your stuff. Get all your installers. Everything you've installed, back it up on a hard drive. Because in the future, a lot of stuff right now is getting hacked on the distribution line. Meaning that you go to a website to download maybe Adobe Photoshop. And for some reason, no one knew, but they got hacked. And the package to install Adobe Photoshop now contains a virus in it because no one could figure out that they were inside, and they gave a hijacked exe or something happened, right? Modified. And you would trust Adobe. You would trust Adobe, and it wouldn't be Adobe's fault in any case scenario. A lot of sophisticated hacking is happening. Even Anthropic has this Mythos thing. Maybe it's a marketing scheme to say, hey, we got this super hacking machine that no one can use, only the top corporations can use, which is kind of sketchy, I think. Why would they be given the ability when no one else can? Why do we trust corporations versus, people? Well, that's true in a way. Would I trust corporate? I mean, they're people too, so I wouldn't trust anyone. In fact, having this tool is probably going to be more detrimental to the future than productive. This Mythos AI basically can find zero-day bugs and errors and exploits in systems like Linux, Mac, anything. So they can get in servers, they can get in backdoors, and then drop a little rat somewhere, a remote access Trojan on CPU-Z. You saw the recent post that I have. If you haven't, go check it out. CPU-Z was hacked in this exact way. The servers were hacked. The installation package was included with a DLL file that was hijacked, and then people would basically download and run what they thought was a clean, old, old Bessie, dependable piece of software run by the community for ages. And all of a sudden, it's carrying a DLL that's infected. And some people install the rat, the remote access Trojan. I don't think it's stopping here. So I recommend downloading as much as you can, backing it up, and then backing it up again, and then racing for the next year or two, because I think we're going through a roller coaster. I think we are manifesting cyberpunk. We're going to have the old internet, which will be flourishing with exploited stuff and viruses and all kinds of stuff. and we're gonna have to create a new internet separated. Maybe Tor. Maybe Tor will save us here. I don't think so though. Maybe SpaceX. I don't know. Maybe that would be an interesting turn of events. But we're ruining the internet with this AI stuff. So if you want to keep all your stuff, all your applications for anything that happens in the future, make sure you back it all up. Set up a local AI and be ready for anything. Anyway, that's it from me. Thanks for joining. Again, I'm Christoph. You can find me on my Patreon at ChrisMIA. You can look me up online, on Google, on whatever search engine you're looking at. Just ChrisMIA, tutoring, or ChrisMIA.com, or superscholar.xyz. There's a lot of ways to find me. So if you do want to learn something, you need help with school, you're expanding your skill sets, or basically want to join the community and chill, join my Patreon. There's a free tier where you literally just join, you get my Discord. You can come chill with me. We can play video games from time to time when I have time, which is probably once a week nowadays. Hopefully in the future it'll be more. And if you need tutoring, you'll find me on Patreon. I have a bunch of different packages available from 2 hours a month, 4 hours a month, and they're pretty affordable for most case scenarios, right? Like, and the more you kind of package in, depends on how much you need, the less expensive per hour it gets. So, based on a lot of different places, I've seen people do like 300 a month for like 4 hours a month, 8 hours a month. My package like 150. So you're getting a lot more for a lot less on my Patreon. And it's a dependable platform. I've trusted Patreon for a long time. A lot of people, a lot of creators use Patreon to basically build a community and provide to their community back, you know, in return for the support. So if you want to support me, again, look in the description below. Find my Patreon. If you need help with education, description below. Find my Patreon. And until next time. I thought this was a pretty cool little setup and I wanted to share it so others knew that they can set it up on their computer too. But you need a graphics card, right? So keep that in mind. You could probably try with a smaller model. But I don't know. Try quantized. Try one of those Q4Q quantized models. That might work a bit better. If you want me to make a video testing out smaller models and seeing how they fare against larger models and developing, you know, like, subscribe, leave a comment, give me a shout out, and I'll make a new video based on smaller models for every day.